A lot of women ask the same question. Why doesn't he respect me the way I deserve? The truth is, respect doesn't start with them. Respect starts with you. When you set boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. If you allow anything, you will receive anything. But when you stand on your standards, the right man will step up. The first boundary is respecting your time. Your time is valuable. If a man constantly cancels plans, shows up late, or only calls you when it's convenient for him, you have to stop rewarding that behavior. When you protect your time, you show that your life has value and structure. A man respects a woman who has priorities and doesn't drop everything just because he suddenly decided to appear. The second boundary is not accepting disrespectful communication. If a man talks to you with sarcasm, insults, or anger, that is not love. That is a lack of respect. The moment you allow disrespect, a strong woman calmly says, "You will not speak to me that way." When a man realizes he cannot cross that line, he begins to treat you differently. The third boundary is not rushing intimacy. Many people confuse attention with commitment. A man may give you attention, compliments, and sweet words, but that doesn't mean he's invested. When you take your time and don't rush emotional or physical intimacy, you give a man the opportunity to prove his intentions. A man values what he has to work for. The fourth boundary is keeping your independence. A relationship should add to your life, not become your entire life. Keep your goals, your hobbies, your friendships, and your dreams. When a man sees that you are complete on your own, he understands that being with you is a privilege, not a necessity. The fifth boundary is walking away from inconsistency. Words are easy, but actions reveal truth. If a man says he cares, but his actions don't match, believe the actions. A woman who is willing to walk away from confusion shows strength. And strength commands respect. Respect always begins with the standards you set for yourself. Many people believe respect comes from what they say or how much they try to please someone, but that is not how real respect works. Respect is built when people see that you value yourself enough to protect your dignity, your peace, and your boundaries. When you don't set standards for how others should treat you, people will simply do whatever benefits them the most. It is not always because they are bad people. Sometimes it is simply because human nature follows the path of least resistance. If there are no limits, there is no reason for someone to change their behavior. A woman who understands her worth does not feel the need to constantly prove herself or chase someone's approval. She knows that respect is not something you beg for. It is something you command through the way you carry yourself. When you walk into a room with confidence, speak with calmness, and stand firm on your values, people naturally begin to treat you differently. They recognize that you are someone who expects to be treated well. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is believing that love alone will create respect. Love is important, but love without standards can easily turn into imbalance. When someone realizes they can ignore your feelings, cancel plans, speak harshly, or take advantage of your kindness without consequences, respect slowly disappears. Not because you are not worthy of it, but because your boundaries were never clearly established. Setting boundaries does not mean being rude, cold, or aggressive. In fact, true boundaries are often quiet and calm. They are shown through consistent actions. For example, if someone speaks to you disrespectfully and you calmly say that you will not accept that behavior, you are sending a powerful message. You are not creating drama. You are simply protecting your self-respect. Over time, people begin to understand that certain lines cannot be crossed with you. And self-respect also changes the way you react to situations. Instead of chasing someone who is inconsistent, you observe their behavior. Instead of arguing endlessly to convince someone to value you, you recognize that your energy should only go where it is appreciated. This mindset shifts the entire dynamic of a relationship. When someone sees that you are willing to walk away from situations that do not align with your standards, they realize your presence in their life is not guaranteed. Another important part of self-respect is emotional control. When someone tries to provoke you or push your boundaries, reacting with anger or desperation can sometimes give away your power. But when you stay calm and firm, it shows maturity and strength. Calm confidence sends a message that you are not easily shaken and that you know exactly what you deserve. People who respect themselves also invest in their personal growth. They focus on their goals, their health, their career, and their happiness. They do not build their entire identity around someone else's attention. This independence naturally creates attraction and respect because it shows that you have a life that is full and meaningful on its own. At the end of the day, the way people treat you is often a reflection of what you allow in your life. When you raise your standards, protect your time, and refuse to accept less than you deserve, the dynamic around you begins to change. The people who truly value you will rise to. Meet those standards, and those who cannot will slowly remove themselves from your life. Either way, you win because you remain true to your worth. One of the most powerful boundaries a woman can set is refusing to accept disrespectful communication. The way someone speaks to you reveals a lot about how they see you and how much they value your presence in their life. Words may seem small in the moment, but over time, they shape the entire tone of a relationship. When harsh comments, sarcasm, insults, or dismissive behavior become normal, the foundation of respect begins to break down. Many people tolerate these things at first because they want to avoid conflict or because they hope the other person will change. But silence in those moments can slowly teach someone that their behavior is acceptable. A man who truly respects you will be mindful of how he speaks to you, especially during disagreements. Disagreements are normal in any relationship. Two people can care about each other deeply and still have different opinions or perspectives. The difference lies in how those disagreements are handled. When respect exists, even difficult conversations remain calm and constructive. But when respect is missing, arguments turn into personal attacks, raised voices, and hurtful words that leave emotional scars. Setting a boundary around communication does not mean you never allow anyone to make a mistake. Everyone says the wrong thing sometimes. What matters is the pattern. If someone repeatedly speaks to you in a way that makes you feel small, ignored, or disrespected, that is when the boundary becomes necessary. A strong woman does not respond by shouting louder or trying to win the argument. Instead, she calmly makes it clear that she will not continue a conversation that crosses the line into disrespect. There is a quiet strength in that kind of response. It shows emotional, now maturity, and self-control. Instead of feeding the negativity, you step back and protect your peace. When a man realizes that certain behavior will immediately end the conversation or distance him from you, he begins to understand that respect is not optional. it becomes a requirement if he wants to continue being part of your life. Many people fear that setting this boundary will push someone away. In reality, the opposite is often true. The right man appreciates clarity and strength. He recognizes that you value yourself enough to demand healthy communication, and that encourages him to meet you at the same level of respect. Boundaries create structure in a relationship. They define what is acceptable and what is not. Another important aspect of respectful communication is the tone used during everyday interactions. Respect is not only about avoiding insults, it is also about speaking with kindness, patience, and consideration. When someone constantly interrupts you, dismisses your feelings, or makes jokes at your expense, those behaviors can slowly erode trust and emotional safety. A relationship should be a place where both people feel heard and valued. When you establish a boundary about communication, you are also protecting your emotional well-being. Words have the power to influence how people see themselves. Constant criticism or negativity can slowly damage confidence and create self-doubt. But when you refuse to accept that treatment, you protect your self-worth and remind yourself that you deserve kindness and understanding. A woman who values respectful communication also models it in her own behavior. She speaks honestly, but she does not use words as weapons. She expresses her feelings clearly without belittling the other person. This balance between firmness and kindness creates an environment where respect can grow naturally. Over time, this boundary teaches others an important lesson. It shows that your presence in their life comes with expectations of mutual respect. You are not asking for perfection, but you are requiring basic dignity in the way you are treated. When that message is clear, the dynamic of the relationship shifts. Conversations become healthier, disagreements become more productive, and the overall connection becomes stronger. Respectful communication is not about controlling another person. It is about protecting your own standards and emotional safety. When someone understands that they cannot speak to you carelessly or disrespectfully, they begin to approach you with more thoughtfulness. That shift in behavior is where true respect begins to show itself. Another powerful boundary that creates respect in a relationship is not rushing intimacy. In many modern relationships, things move very quickly. People meet, feel an instant connection, and within a short time, they begin sharing deep emotions, personal secrets, and physical closeness. While excitement and attraction are natural, moving too fast can sometimes blur the difference between genuine commitment and temporary interest. When everything happens quickly, there is little time to truly understand someone's character, intentions, and values. Taking your time allows you to see a person more clearly. Anyone can appear charming and attentive at the beginning. In the early stages of attraction, people often show their best side. They say the right words, make big promises, and present themselves in the most appealing way possible. But real character is revealed slowly through consistent actions over time. When you create space and do not rush into emotional or physical intimacy, you give yourself the chance to observe who someone really is. A woman who respects herself understands that attention is not the same as commitment. Limit sweet messages and romantic gestures can feel wonderful, but they do not automatically mean someone is serious about building a meaningful relationship. When intimacy is given too quickly, sometimes the other person may feel they have already received everything without having to demonstrate real effort or dedication. that can create an imbalance where one person becomes more invested emotionally while the other remains uncertain. Setting a boundary around intimacy is not about playing games or testing someone. It is about protecting your emotional well-being and allowing the relationship to develop naturally. When a man truly values a woman, he does not lose interest simply because she takes her time. In fact, patience often increases respect. It shows that she has standards, self-control, and a clear understanding of what she wants from a relationship. Waiting and building a strong emotional foundation also allows trust to grow. Trust cannot be forced or rushed. It develops through shared experiences, honest conversations, and consistent behavior. When two people spend time learning about each other's dreams, values, and perspectives, their connection becomes deeper and more meaningful. That type of bond is far stronger than one built only on physical attraction. This boundary also helps reveal someone's true intentions. If a man becomes impatient, distant, or frustrated simply because you choose to move at a thoughtful pace, that reaction often says more about his priorities than any words he might have spoken earlier. Someone who respects you will understand that intimacy should come with emotional responsibility. He will see your patience not as rejection, but as a sign of maturity and self-respect. Another benefit of not rushing intimacy is that it keeps you emotionally balanced. When emotions and physical connection happen too quickly, it can sometimes create strong attachments before a solid foundation exists. This can make it difficult to step back and evaluate whether the relationship is truly healthy or compatible. By allowing things to unfold gradually, you maintain clarity and perspective. A woman who values this boundary is not afraid of connection, but she understands that meaningful relationships require time. She knows that the right person will appreciate the process of building something real rather than trying to skip the important steps. Her patience communicates that she is not seeking temporary excitement, but something deeper and lasting. Over time, this approach creates a different kind of energy in the relationship. Instead of rushing through moments, both people become more intentional with their actions and their words. Conversations become more meaningful, trust grows stronger, and emotional security develops naturally. Respect follows this process because it shows that the relationship is being treated with care rather than urgency. Choosing not to rush intimacy is ultimately a reflection of self-worth. It demonstrates that you see your emotions, your trust, and your connection as valuable things that should be shared with someone who has proven they deserve it. When that message is clear, the people who truly respect you will remain patient and continue showing up with genuine effort and sincerity. Another important boundary that creates respect in a relationship is maintaining your independence. Many people believe that being in love means giving all your time, energy, and attention to the other person. While spending time together is a beautiful part of any relationship, losing your sense of self can slowly weaken the balance between two people. When someone becomes your entire world, it can unintentionally send a message that your happiness depends completely on them. Over time, that kind of dependence can reduce the level of respect in the relationship. Independence means remembering that you had a life before the relationship and that life still matters. Your goals, your interests, your friendships, and your personal growth should not disappear simply because you are with someone. A strong relationship is built when two individuals come together while still maintaining their own identities. When a woman continues to pursue her ambitions and passions It shows that she values her own growth as much as the relationship itself. A man often respects a woman more when he sees that she has her own direction in life. It demonstrates confidence and self-belief. When you are busy building your dreams, improving yourself, and creating a fulfilling life, your energy becomes different. You are not constantly waiting for attention or approval. Instead, you are choosing to share your life with someone, not relying on them to complete it. Maintaining independence also protects emotional balance. If someone's mood, attention, or availability becomes the only source of your happiness, it can create emotional instability. On the other hand, when your life includes personal goals, supportive friends, meaningful work, and activities that bring you joy, you remain grounded even when the relationship faces challenges. This emotional stability naturally commands respect because it shows strength and maturity. Another part of independence is having your own opinions and perspectives. Respect grows when both people feel free to express themselves honestly. A woman who always agrees out of fear of conflict or rejection may slowly lose her voice in the relationship. But when she speaks her thoughts with calm confidence, it creates a dynamic of equality. A healthy relationship is not about one person controlling the other. It is about two people who respect each other's individuality. Independence also reminds both partners that the relationship is a choice. When someone feels that you will stay no matter what happens, even if they neglect your feelings or ignore your needs, they may start to take your presence for granted. Or when they see that you are capable, strong, and fulfilled on your own, they understand that being with you is something valuable. Your presence becomes something they appreciate rather than something they assume will always be there. This does not mean creating distance or acting cold. Independence simply means maintaining a healthy balance between togetherness and personal space. Spending time with friends, focusing on personal development, learning new skills, and pursuing hobbies all contribute to a richer and more fulfilling life. When you bring that energy back into the relationship, it keeps the connection vibrant and interesting. A woman who maintains her independence also inspires respect because she demonstrates discipline and vision. She is not defined only by the relationship. She continues to grow, evolve, and explore her potential. This kind of mindset attracts people who appreciate strength and ambition rather than those who seek control or dependency. Over time, independence strengthens the relationship itself. Two people who are individually fulfilled bring more positivity, creativity, and emotional security into their connection. They support each other's goals and celebrate each other's achievements rather than feeling threatened by them. This mutual support builds admiration, and admiration is one of the strongest foundations of respect. When you protect your independence, you send a powerful message without needing to say a word. You show that your life has meaning, direction, and purpose beyond the relationship. The right man will not feel intimidated by that strength. Instead, he will admire it and feel proud to stand beside someone who knows who she is and where she is going.